What if I told you that the glittering streets of Times Square, the bustling beaches of Miami, and the once crowded walkways of Disneyland are all hiding a silent crisis that could shake the very foundation of America's economy? The tourists are vanishing, and with them, billions of dollars are slipping away. Before you go deeper into this eye-opening story, make sure you subscribe and stay tuned, because what you're about to uncover might change the way you see America's future forever. Tourism has always been America's secret heartbeat, a lifeline that silently pumps billions into the economy, keeping businesses alive, creating jobs, and supporting communities from the shimmering skyline of New York City to the neon-lit desert of Las Vegas, from the sunny shores of Florida to the breathtaking trails of Yellowstone. But over the past few years, something unexpected, something devastating, has been happening: a slow erosion, a quiet exodus, the disappearance of tourists, both international and domestic, creating a ripple effect so massive that it threatens to rewrite the future of countless towns, cities, and industries across the United States. And while politicians and economists are busy debating inflation, interest rates, and global competition, very few are paying attention to the silent collapse of one of America's most underestimated powerhouses, the tourism industry. To understand this crisis, picture this. In 2019, before the pandemic shifted the world into uncharted waters, the United States welcomed nearly 80 million international visitors, generating more than $200 billion in spending, supporting millions of jobs, and contributing almost 3% of the GDP directly. But in the years that followed, even as airplanes filled back up, even as restrictions eased, the numbers never returned to what they once were, and the gap has only widened. International travelers, who once flocked to the U.S. for shopping sprees in Los Angeles, Broadway shows in New York, business conferences in Chicago, or road trips across Route 66, have quietly found alternatives, whether in Europe, Asia, or their own regions, and surveys reveal a growing perception that America is no longer the friendly, open, or affordable destination it once marketed itself to be. The reasons are complex: stricter visa policies, a stronger dollar making trips more expensive, concerns about safety, gun violence, and political instability, combined with the lingering aftershocks of the pandemic, all converging into a storm that drives tourists away. But the crisis is not just international, it's domestic too, because even Americans themselves have shifted their travel patterns, embracing local road trips, camping, and smaller experiences over grand vacations in urban hubs. And while this sounds harmless at first, the reality is devastating for cities that rely heavily on big-ticket tourism revenue, places like Orlando, Las Vegas, San Francisco, and New York City, where entire ecosystems of restaurants, hotels, theaters, museums, and retail outlets depend on streams of visitors, streams that are now drying up. Consider Las Vegas, the entertainment capital of the world, where the Strip once thrived on international conferences, conventions, and the steady influx of tourists ready to gamble, dine, and indulge. But in recent years, foot traffic has declined, hotels are reporting shorter stays, and casino revenues are increasingly reliant on domestic weekenders rather than international big spenders. Meanwhile, New York, once the crown jewel of American tourism, has seen international visits plummet, and while the Statue of Liberty still stands tall, ferry lines that used to wrap around for hours are now shorter, Times Square's chaotic energy feels thinner, and Broadway theaters struggle to fill seats on weekdays, all pointing to a subtle but undeniable decline. The economic impact of this disappearance cannot be overstated, because tourism doesn't just bring money, it multiplies it. Every dollar a tourist spends on a hotel room spills into wages for staff, supplies from local vendors, taxes that fund city services, and the ripple continues into restaurants, taxis, souvenir shops, and beyond. But when that dollar vanishes, the chain reaction is brutal. Jobs disappear, businesses shut down, city budgets shrink, and communities that once thrived begin to hollow out. Small towns near national parks have felt this firsthand. Places like Moab, Utah, or Bar Harbor, Maine, once bursting with visitors during the summer, now face shorter seasons, unpredictable revenues, and growing anxiety about whether their lifeblood is slipping away for good. The deeper question is, why didn't America see this coming? The truth is, for decades, the U.S. relied on its natural appeal, its reputation as a dream destination, assuming that people would always want to come. But the global landscape has changed. Countries like Japan, South Korea, and the United Arab Emirates have poured billions into tourism infrastructure, offering not only safer, cleaner, and often more affordable experiences, but also hassle-free visa systems, high-speed transportation, and cutting-edge attractions that make the US look outdated by comparison. Europe, too, has leveraged its cultural heritage, affordable travel within the EU, and modern marketing campaigns to reclaim travelers who might have once prioritized America. Even within the Western Hemisphere, destinations like Mexico and the Caribbean islands have drawn away US-bound tourists by offering competitive prices, all-inclusive experiences, and a sense of safety that America struggles to project in global headlines. Safety, in fact, is one of the most underrated yet decisive factors in this crisis. International surveys consistently show that gun violence, mass shootings, and political unrest in the US weigh heavily on the minds of potential travelers. Parents hesitate to bring children, business travelers question the risk, and leisure tourists weigh whether the dream vacation is worth the anxiety. Combined with visa delays that can stretch months, high airfare, and unpredictable regulations, the barriers pile up until the decision to go elsewhere becomes easy. The tragedy is that America has no shortage of wonders to offer. The Grand Canyon still stuns, Disney still delights, jazz still thrives in New Orleans, the Pacific Coast Highway still inspires awe, but perception has shifted, and perception is everything in tourism. Behind the numbers, there are human stories, and these stories reveal the depth of the crisis. A family-owned diner in Orlando, once packed with theme park visitors, now struggles to stay afloat, cutting staff hours and raising prices just to survive. A tour guide in San Francisco, who used to lead daily groups from China and Europe, now finds his bookings slashed by half, forcing him into gig work on the side. A boutique hotel in New York that thrived on European tourists during the holiday season now rents rooms at discounted rates, chasing domestic visitors who spend less and stay shorter. These are not isolated stories. They are threads in a growing tapestry of economic decline woven across America's tourism-reliant industries. The consequences ripple even further, into sectors most people don't immediately associate with tourism. Airlines lose revenue from long-haul flights. Retailers lose big-spending customers who once treated shopping trips as part of their vacation. Universities and cultural institutions lose visibility and global exposure, and even real estate. Markets in tourist-heavy areas begin to wobble. When visitors vanish, investors notice, and the cycle accelerates. For cities already burdened by crime, homelessness, and infrastructure challenges, the disappearance of tourism revenue becomes a crushing blow. San Francisco, for example, once ranked among the most visited cities in the U.S., has faced a sharp decline in conventions and international visitors, with images of deserted downtown streets and reports of rising safety concerns discouraging travelers. The result is a city fighting not only for its reputation but for its survival as a global destination. And yet, despite the urgency, America seems to be sleepwalking through this crisis. Policy responses are slow, fragmented, or non-existent. The U.S. Travel Association has warned repeatedly about the need for investment in tourism promotion, streamlined visa processes, and marketing campaigns to restore America's image, but those warnings are drowned out by louder political debates. While other nations treat tourism as a strategic pillar of their economies, the U.S. often relegates it to a secondary concern, assuming its natural advantages will carry it forward. That assumption is not only outdated, it is dangerous. But here's the turning point. This crisis, while devastating, is not irreversible. America can reclaim its place as the world's top destination, but only with deliberate action. This means cutting visa wait times dramatically, ensuring that the entry process is not an obstacle but an invitation. It means investing in safety, both real and perceived, by tackling the epidemic of gun violence and projecting an image of stability. It means modernizing infrastructure, from airports to public transportation, to match or exceed global standards. And it means marketing, telling the story of America not just as a collection of landmarks, but as a mosaic of experiences, communities, and cultures that no other nation can replicate. Imagine campaigns that spotlight not just New York or Los Angeles, but also the hidden gems of the Midwest, the soulful towns of the South, the adventure trails of the Rockies, the cultural blends of Texas, and the indigenous histories across the land. America's diversity is its greatest strength, but it has yet to fully harness it in tourism promotion. Ultimately, the disappearance of tourists is not just about empty hotel rooms or quiet airports, it's about identity. Tourism shapes how the world sees America, how Americans see themselves, and how communities survive and thrive. If left unchecked, the silent crisis could hollow out industries, erase traditions, and deepen economic divides. But if confronted head-on, it could spark a renaissance that reimagines American tourism for the 21st century. The choice is America's to make, but the clock is ticking, and the world is watching. The tourists are vanishing, the billions are vanishing, but awareness can bring change. Don't let this crisis remain invisible. Share this story, spread the word, and demand action. Subscribe for more deep, untold stories that reveal the truths hiding in plain sight, because the future of America's economy might just depend on what we choose to see today.